Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
When I read this, it just sent a chill down my backbone. Think about this and reflect on this today. Those who come after us will once again have to risk their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to bring back the republic that this generation has timidly frittered away due to white guilt and political correctness. How true. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot. A patriot calling in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you and telling you better get ready for wintertime driving. And also some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the telephone and hopefully have a Pledge of Allegiance person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. You ready?
Yes, I am. Go ahead, Doug, please.
I am, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What are you two guys, a couple of bookends or something, for heaven's sakes? Thank you both. Thank you both. That was almost well done. Thank you. Appreciate it. God bless. Oh, good morning. Good morning. A couple of Doug and Wheels doing our pledge for us this morning. Right now it's time for the weather. We're going to find out what it's going to do. It is a beautiful morning out there, a little bit frosty. And Roger and the crew over at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn on the Burley Paul Highway. They bring you the weather. Hey, by the way, it always happens during the holidays. People have sewer problems. Ew. Well, K&R Rental has all the sewer snakes to help you get the job cleaned up. Don't forget, give them a call. They've got all the equipment and tools at K&R Rental, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
Relatively calm for today and for the rest of the week. It kind of doesn't even feel like the end of November. Looks like sunny skies for today on the calm side, high of 43 tonight. We do have a 20% chance of rain and or snow showers in the forecast. Going to be breezy as well, low of 27. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, gusts right around 30 miles an hour. High of 39 is what we're looking at. Tomorrow night, mostly clear skies with a low of 22. For Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 42 with an overnight low of 25. And for Friday, partly sunny skies, high of about 45, and looks like a low of 31. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Not bad, Gina. Not bad at all. Thank you. Don't forget, contact K&R Rental anytime you need information about tools and equipment to get your construction project or whatever you're doing with the right equipment, the right tools to get it done. You better believe it. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, 678-3122. Oh, my goodness sakes. Good morning. There is so much to talk about here this morning, and I want to remind you there is going to be a big sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard this Thursday at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for sale information or cattle consignment, 678-9411. Merv May, K. Draghi, Lance Udy, the sale that works for you. You be sure and remember, 10 o'clock sale time this Thursday at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Do not miss it. Going to be a ripping good sale. We've got a lot of reminders about what's going on at Denny's Restaurant on the 14th. I am going to be broadcasting live and direct over there for the annual Denny's Christmas party. And it's going to be from 8 to 11. We're going to have door prizes. Santa Claus is going to be there. And we're going to have a registration for a recliner. I'm going to tell you about that in just a few minutes. All of this at 611 North Overland on the 14th. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, annual Christmas party coming up on Thursday, December 14th from 8 to 11. Also, Daryl's Cleaners. Hello, Kevin. I'll tell you what, they are probably swamped with all the sleeping bags from hunting season and all the gravy-stained table coverings and the neckties and everything else from Thanksgiving. Oh, look at the cranberry sauce over there on that nice tie. Anyway, take them all in there and let Kevin and the whole crew take care of getting them back to you looking brand spanking new. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Well, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to ask you a question in regards to if you could sum up, and I'm going to preface my remarks by saying keeping them clean. If you could sum up in one word the IRS, what would you sum them up to be? The Internal Revenue Service. I have my own reasons for condemning them for really inexcusable actions and pathetic workmanship. And I'd like to find out what some of you folks think. But please, I'll cut you off if you say something nasty. Try to keep it as eloquent but yet stabbing as possible. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Ted.
Yes, sir.
You know, IRS. You know, when those three little letters are spoken, people just kind of chill.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we're feared of our government.
Yeah,
and
I know
that's
we are.
not the way it should be. But they are vicious, they are tenacious, and I don't know what else to say about them, but they're just evil.
Well, I can't argue, but if you were to sum up, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I have my own personal and particular reasons for bringing this up this morning, but if you were to sum up in your own one word your thoughts about the IRS, what would you say? One word.
Dishonesty.
Okay, that's good. I'll take that. Thank you. And I've got to take some more calls and do some more work on my ads, but I'm going to write that down. Dishonesty. I'm going to write that one down. Thank you. I appreciate it, Keith. God bless. What do you think? What one word would sum up the IRS for you? I'll give you some. I said pugnacious, arrogant, condescending, and thugs. I mean, I can come up with a whole bunch of them. What are your thoughts on that? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let me quickly also say Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, furnace filters to keep you warm and toasty. You better stop in and see them today. Great people celebrating well over a half a century of serving you. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. You stop in and see them today. By the way, Merry Christmas from Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. And Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Oberlin in Burley. Yeah, they've teamed up to provide a drawing. On December 14th, we're going to have the drawing, but you can stop in and start registering now. Sign your meal receipt with your name and your telephone number, and you might be the lucky winner of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner. And boy, I'm telling you, that's going to be great. We're going to have the drawing on December 14th at Denny's Restaurant. Thank you, Denny's Restaurant and Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. And this is just a little bit something special for Christmas time. But you can stop in anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Great people. Fantastic menu at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I would have to call them leeches.
I hadn't got that one. Leeches. And why do you say that?
Well, they're like a bunch of bloodsuckers. Once they get their hooks into you, they'll drain you dry. And I do believe that they have quotas they have to fill.
Do you have proof of that?
That organization is all about.
Do you have proof of that, though? I mean, we don't speculate on my program, and we don't make any innuendos that we can't back up, but that's why I'm really careful about quota systems or the saying that they do or don't. So you got to have proof before you say it on my program.
Well, I say they are a bunch of leeches.
I can't argue with that one.
Tied on to you, you can't get rid of them.
Oh, kind of like a bad relative. Anyway, Tony, thank you so much. God bless you for your word this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
How would you describe the IRS? I'm going to describe them also as incompetent. I really am. Because it seems like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, and or vice versa. And for those out there that are offended that we're talking about the IRS that way, I said I have my own personal reasons for doing this and personal knowledge and personal experiences, but I'm beginning to really question the validity of, they're so omnipotently pure. I've always questioned that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What are your thoughts about the IRS? And keep it clean. Don't forget Dino's Septic Service over in Rupert. There you go. Great that we would have Dino's Septic Service right after we talked about the IRS. Perfect timing, Zebber. And the Dino's Septic Service can absolutely come in there and clean your sewer and sink drain lines and septic tanks and drain fields installed, septic tanks pumped. I mean, they do a job that you and I don't want to do. Raise your hands if you want to do it. No hands, I understand. Call Dino Septic Service at 436-6526. In Burley, 678-1638. Absolutely the best with that great big truck. I giggle every time I think about that. When they pulled in my yard, I saw that it says, Smells Cargo on the way. I love it. Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Oh, and by the way, too, living at home all by yourself, if you're a senior, it can be a little bit dangerous. And, being alone is bad enough in the lonely feeling and the isolation and also the safety hazards and everything, climbing in and out of the tub or shower or whatever it might be, slipping on a throw rug. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things to worry about. Well, if you're a senior that's looking for possibility of living at a place where they absolutely provide the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably, you'd better contact Pomerel Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The number to call, get more information, 677-8212. 677-8212, Pomerel Place. Really nice people. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've got to really tell you that be careful, ladies. Be careful. I want to address this to the ladies out in the audience this morning. There seems to be right now, more so than ever before, whether it is warranted or whether it's exaggerated. Remember those words. That there is a real big, kind of a feminine Nazi movement against men. And this came to the forefront last night. Wait a minute, back up, you're getting ahead of me. I am not advocating anything of the Al Franken or John Conyers movement whatsoever. No, don't go there. What they did was evil, wrong, and they should be thrown out of office. But what I'm saying is that there is a feminist movement going on in this country right now, almost like feminist Nazis. And when I say that, I saw a woman on television last night that, oh my goodness, if you woke up in the middle of the night and saw her eyes, it would put you into a twilight zone of fear. Woo, man, that woman was spooky looking. Well, the what and the who about her personality last night was an all-condemning. And I mean this when I say this. She had an all-condemning attitude about men in our society. And her attitude was the opposite on the attack, like a junkyard dog, that women should be in control of everything. And men, not necessary. Get rid of them. Move them out. Head them up, move them out, rawhide. And I'd like to hear from some of the women in the audience this morning about this feminist movement that absolutely, look at what's on TV. And we've talked about this in the past many, many times. The wimps, wussy men that are playing parts in sitcoms and on television shows. And oh, come on. There's not one of them that could lick a plate of soup. It's pathetic the way men are being associated with the male role in society today, and the dominant female can take care of everything. Yes, I feel comfortable because Deanne's in the other room. But it's absolutely being blown out of proportion. And this woman last night, I do not and cannot remember her name to save my bacon, but boy, I mean, she had a look of pure hatred and animosity against men. Give me a call, 436-22. I'd like to hear from some of the gals out there in the audience this morning. We've got some more common sense ladies here in this area than they do back in the Big Apple in New York, etc. Give me a call, please, quickly. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Here's the number to call and get back to feeling like yourself through the exercise programs and the hydrotherapy pool and the excellent physical therapist, 678-1191. Write it down. Call today, 678-1191. They are the best. Why do I say that? They help me immensely. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, Suite 2, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. All right, give them a call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Well, it's not a female, I don't think.
Last I looked, it wasn't.
Okay. Never mind. TMI.
Yeah, these, where they're portraying men as wusses and that.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting terrible. And the one of them that I really, it just grinds my gears, is that one commercial where that laxative, and the guy looks at it, and he mispronounces it, and the wife corrects him.
Oh, yeah, I know which one you mean, and I cannot think of the name of the...
Sinicott?
Yeah, Kennicott, yeah.
Yeah, and he says Sinicoot.
Yeah.
But he, that's like us guys didn't learn anything in school. We don't know how to read.
Yeah, but it's like that in almost a majority. I would say 90% of the commercials on TV today, the sitcoms, etc., all have a controlling interest being passed over to the feminization movement in this country, and the rest of us are dolts, unneeded, and we're stupid and not necessary to be around.
Yeah, like the old shows, like Father Knows Best.
Oh, yeah.
Fever and...
Try to put one of those on today.
Or Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, really. You know what? That's where political correctness needs to have a big hole dug and thrown in the ground because, you know, men should be men. Men should open doors for women. They should be polite. They should help ladies on with their coats. And the John Wayne, Robert Mitchum, Jimmy Stewart attitude of men are going to be men and we're going to treat you with respect, that's what we need to get back to. When I saw this feminazi on television last night, whoo, she scared me.
Yeah. It's sad that, you know, and unfortunately, they're trying to wussify the kids growing up, the boys.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
Letting them be boys in school.
They won't let them be boys because at that juncture in their particular lifestyle in the elementary schools, that means that they are on a road to hell as far as never being a man.
Exactly. They're discovering who they are and what they are.
Yeah.
You know, they're not, you know, you don't drug them and to control them. You give them constructive things to do.
You know, what you're saying is just so obvious, but there is a movement out there, and unfortunately, it's almost now in the majority, to where men they've been so ostracized from reality. I had to really watch my word there. I almost said the wrong thing. And whether it's TV commercials, whether it's sitcoms, or whatever, I mean, the women, look at Elizabeth Warren. Look at this. She lied through her teeth about her ancestry and her heritage. And yesterday, in a tongue-in-cheek moment, Donald Trump, our president, referred to her as Pocahontas. And the left blew a smoke signal off the cliff and said that's a racial slur.
Exactly. When I love what that Sarah Huckabee Sanders said.
Yeah.
You should be outraged that she lied to better herself.
Yeah, that's right. And further her political career.
Exactly. She took a job away from a true Native American.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the outrage should be. She's the one that's belittling to the Native American.
No, wait a minute. You're being political correct, and on this program, we're not going to do that. I can't allow you to do that. You said a Native American, and I don't allow that on my program. They are American Indians, and that's the way it is on my program, Doug, because I'm as Native and American as they are.
Well, this is true. This is true. You was born here, they were born here.
Yep. And I don't mean to correct you, old buddy, but I will not stand for political correctness, which I consider to be garbage and also the downplay of America.
Well, political correctness is designed in a way to overtake America.
Yep. That's why on this program, if you start referring to them as Native Americans or Black African Americans or Mexican Americans, I'm putting the hammer down, buddy, because it doesn't happen on my program.
Yeah, I understand. And I used to listen to a radio when I was trucking, and this guy, his call name on the radio was the Trucking Bozo. And,
wow.
And he'd been in the trucking industry for years, and he stated the downfall of America is going to be the hyphen.
I agree. I got to run and do some commercials, buddy. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Thank you.
Everybody, let's take care of our senior centers.
Absolutely.
I keep harping on this, but they need the help.
Absolutely, Doug. God bless you, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, don't forget Keelix supplements. What are Keelix supplements? Well, I'm going to tell you. They are an absolutely important supplement of vitamins and minerals for your livestock. I don't care if you've got beef cattle, dairy cattle, horses, sheep, goats. Keelix has the product for your livestock, especially going into the cold winter months when they need those extra nutrients to maintain their body form, weight, etc. You better check it out with Scott Minton today. 435-230-1175. Call him to help you provide what your cattle need and your livestock need during the winter. Absolutely. They've got chelated minerals for better absorption, a variety of formulas, Keelix supplements. You call Scott Minton today at 435-230-1175, serving you with Keelix supplements. By the way, too, I got to do the bell thing. Hold on. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I love jingling those bells. I just get a kick out of that. Merry Christmas from Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. Yes, they thank all their customers for their business, and they're saying to you and yours, Merry, Merry Christmas, as they sell quality seed to quality people, Golden Valley Warehouse. Streamline Precision. Hello, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. And they do it all, from dairy parlors, free stalls, robotic barns. They can build anything, everything, maternity barns, commodity mixing centers. All you have to do is call Streamline Precision at 678-9204. Great folks. Hello, Tim. And don't forget to Joe Taylor, the best doggone real estate agent in the world. I'll tell you what, nicest guy, too. Joe Taylor, 425 Overland and Burley. And buy or sell real estate, one call does it all to Joe, 678-9400. Joe Taylor, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think? Oh, and by the way, there was a letter in the paper this morning, and I'm not picking on this woman. I've picked on her before because she's easily picked on. Her name is Suhar from Buell, and she is all upset. She's an avowed liberal and Democrat. Oh, she bleeds blue. And she made some statements in the paper this morning that absolutely are senseless and baseless. She said, and I'm going to just give you a small portion of the letter. She said, I say the Electoral College and gerrymandering need to be put out to pasture and get back to the popular vote. It is the only way we can keep the cheating, yeah, I said cheating, in check. That's a quote from her, Suhar over in Buell. Sue evidently hasn't really thought too much about that statement regarding the Electoral College because, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out, that if we went strictly on the popular vote, that would mean that Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York City, with a compilation of over 16 million people, would literally have control over Idaho and Montana and Wyoming and North Dakota and Utah and, Nebraska. I mean, there's all the Midwestern states, called the flyover states because they don't care, would literally have no voice. Their votes would be canceled out with very liberal cities, very liberal Democrats in control. 3 cities in this United States, without the Electoral College and creating a fairness situation, would control the popular vote. Think about that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I just wish that some people would check the depth of the water before they jump in the pool. Let's see. I've got to tell everybody about Urgent Care. I am so blessed to have them on our program, and they do such a wonderful job, and they've got 3 locations all over the Magic Valley. You know, the thing is, they're open 7 days a week with extended hours, the Urgent Cares, and you get treated, not seated, no appointment necessary or needed. I bit my tongue. And they can handle all your occupational health needs, and they can do the drug screening, and Urgent Care of Twin Falls, Jerome, and Riverview and Burley can take care of 96% of all your health care needs and save you money. Now think about that. Open your billfold and say, they're going to save us money. Absolutely. Urgent Care of Twin Falls at 2392 Addison Avenue East. Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome, and, of course, Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland and Burley. Saving you money, giving you the best in treatment for you and your family. Remember, the Urgent Care's serving you. All right, time for your calls, if you would, please. I'd appreciate hearing from you at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We've talked about the feminazis. We've talked about the IRS. In just a minute, I'll take that call in just a second. Don't you dare leave. I'll be right with you. Stand by. Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, and they've got 3 locations. Number one is South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, they are good. Old Juan and the crew over here at Burley, they've been on my program many, many times. They've got all the equipment rentals and the retail equipment sales for you. And the Bobcat excavators. I mean, they got Bobcats over here, Bobcats over there. They've got them in all shapes and sizes, ready to serve you. Don't know how to run one? They'll teach you in the sandbox out behind the business. Barry Equipment and Rental. They have the equipment to get the job done right. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. What you're talking about, this lady, that she doesn't think that men are important. When you go back to the scriptures and you see that Adam, God created Adam, and he said it wasn't good for man to be alone. And so he took a rib from Adam, didn't take a bone out of his foot. He took one close to his heart, and he created Eve. And they were to be together. And it wasn't. He didn't put another man on earth for Adam. He put a woman on earth. And this is the way it's meant to be.
Okay.
We definitely are. Pardon?
Everything you said is A1 spot on. So, that being said, what do you think about this feminazi movement? And you can see it on TV. You can see it everywhere in our society where there's a downgrade and a denigration of men. There's a downgrading of boys wanting to be men or growing up to be macho and tough. And there's, don't do that. You can't do that. Go play with dresses. Go play with dolls. I mean, you can see this, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, when you go back to the old movies, What Father Knows Best, and all of this, way back when, and you see the change that the male in the family has taken. Instead of being head of the household, he's being he's not even being treated equal. And in the commercials, when they do the TV commercials, it's like you watch and you can see that they're downplaying the role of a man.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And it takes place in our schools and our colleges that they don't try to teach them the importance that each one of them has and their purpose in life. And that's consequently why we've got this gender thing, that's going on.
Yep. Yeah, let me stop you right there because you are an excellent guest to have on here and talk about this. If we would get back, and I mean this entirely, and I want to get your response to this. If we would get back, and it's so simple, to get back to the principles and the teachings and the prophecy that's in the Bible and run our lives and our genders according to that, we wouldn't have the garbage that we've got today.
Oh, absolutely. It's unfortunate that, when in the 50s that they felt that the women had to leave the homes and start working, to help out, and that it didn't ever go back to the mother in the home and raising the children. And, we had a family business, so consequently we had our children, after school we had places for them to come to our offices where they could get their schoolwork finished and after school snacks and what have you, but so many times children aren't treated that well when they come home. They're either set in front of the TV or sent somewhere else, and it's unfortunate because there is a definite role for the mother in the family and how she raises the children and how they turn out.
Amen. Oh, you have no idea how you've made my day. Thank you, and call again. And don't forget this, Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you. The same to you.
All right. Nice lady. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you something else. Put the role of the dad back in the American family. I'm serious. I'm so sick and tired. That woman last night, she created a lot of animosity. Oh, just call it in cowboy terms. She just made me a little bit more than hateful of her attitude last night. She was absolutely, and I'm going to articulate, she was a witch. W. She was a witch last night that she was brought on television to talk about these allegations against men. I'm talking about not allegations that have been proven true, but I'm talking about allegations. And she said basically she didn't care if they were allegations or not. Now it's time for the men to feel the heat. She just had a hatred of men. Woo! It just made the TV smoke last night. I'm telling you. Anyhow, we'll have more and take more of your calls in just a moment. Don't forget Certified Pest Control. I absolutely, and I mean this from firsthand experience, Certified Pest Control started in March of 2000, and I'll tell you what, they provide the best of pest control at a very affordable rate. I am telling you, they came over. Remember a couple of years ago, everybody was overrun with mice and the voles and everything? Holy cow, I mean, we turned them loose on our place, and mice were leading out through the field with white flags. Get us out of here, Homer. We can't stay here anymore. They are the best. Certified Pest Control. The number to call, 312-8577. I'll say it again, 312-8577. Absolutely the best, and they wish you a very Merry Christmas. Boy, they're good. By the way, too, I want to remind you that Merry Christmas from Denny's Restaurant. And, of course, also, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. What? Yeah, Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, and Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with old Jeff and the crew at 459 Overland in Burley. We're going to be giving away a great big, beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner on December 14th. How can you win this? Well, you get into Denny's, and whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner right now, today, go up to the counter, sign your meal receipt, and put your phone number on there, and you might be the winner. Thanks to Denny's Restaurant and Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. The drawing's going to be on December 14th when we're over there for the great big Christmas party. Everybody be there. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Well, I guess I'm going to say Merry Christmas because, all right, Zeb, I'm making an allegation that you sexually harassed me one time.
Oh.
You're gonna go, what? No. I was at a rodeo once that you announced. I sat in the stand, so I could make a timeline that matched, and I could make that allegation, which isn't true. It's not true at all.
You're scaring me.
Actually stick your hand. So, but some of these women that make these allegations that aren't true, they demean it for those that really are true, and they trivialize it and everything else. And there's a lot of investigation that means nothing.
You know, I got to tell you that when you started off by saying what you said, my wife, I think, fell out of her office chair.
That's what some of these, I mean, all right, do you remember Tawana Brawley?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they found out that she had lied, and that poor man went to prison for 10 years. Because Al Sharpton pushed it through that this poor guy had done what she said he had done.
Well, and okay, wait a minute, stop right there, because I want to ask you a question. When you hear, and I'm not taking a side of guilt or innocence in this particular case, so please understand where I am. In the case of Judge Roy Moore, basically one word comes to the forefront, and I think you'll agree with me on this, and it's allegations. Can you please tell me any proof, and along with that, before you give me your answer, some things as far as the allegations have been proven to be as phony as a $3 bill? Go ahead.
They're just allegations, and I find the timing is just really ironic, funny, whatever word you want to use, because he was a judge. Why didn't they come out with that before?
Bingo, bingo,
and
bingo.
Am I wrong on this? Didn't that 14-year-old girl tell her mother?
You know, there's so many things. There's so many things that don't jive in these allegations. Now, again, and I like you because you always call with a very pointed opinion, and I like that. Even though you scared me to death when you started this morning, is that
Merry Christmas first?
okay? But no, really, allegations. And I go back to the simplicity of in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. And the left and these Democrats and the liberals, they're going nuts like sharks in a feeding frenzy without proof.
All right. Well, answer me this. You have a wife. I don't know if you have daughters or not, but if your child, boy or girl nowadays, came to you and says, Mama, this old man, did what supposedly Roy Moore is supposed to have done, wouldn't you move heaven and earth try to get that man right then and there, not 30-some-odd years later?
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. The immediacy and the potentiality of letting this guy off the hook right off the bat. If my daughter had come home and said something like that to me, I'll guarantee you I would have probably broken the law and taken the law into my own hands to make retribution for what he had done. However, you just hit the nail on the head also with the timeline of 10, 20, 30, and in this case with more, 40-plus years ago, and none of this leaked out before. I can't buy that.
Yeah, now that he said, oh, yeah, we knew that 40 years into the future he was going to run for the Senate or House or whatever,
Yeah.
Exactly. We didn't know. They didn't know that, but all of a sudden, right after he won
Well, all I'm going to say to you, my dear, is the next time you call, please do not make me fall out of my chair like you did. Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas again. Sorry.
All right, thank you. Woo! When she said that, I thought, man, I'm in a heap of trouble, and Deanne probably fell out of her chair, and she's coming in with a gun, and oh my gosh, I'm going to get it. Whew. Anyhow, let's move right along now and tell you about a great big stock cow sale. I'll tell you, Merv and the boys over there at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard are going to have a big stock cow sale on Monday, December 11th. Don't miss it. Sale starts at 12 noon sharp. And I'll tell you what, early consignments right now. You call Merv May at 431-5735. 431-5735. If you've got cows you want to commit to a consignment for this great big sale. They're going to have about 200 young cows, 150 middle-aged cows, cows of all ages, and this is at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Don't forget, you can also Cade Rogge and Lance Udy. They'll take your calls. Big stock cow sale, December 11th at Burley Livestock. Don't miss it. Holy cow. I got to get the weather on. I'm running late again. And then when I come back, we'll talk about more of this. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, the doctor of audiology, Christine Pickup. Oh, they are good. They do a wonderful job. Caller, I'll be there in just a minute. Stand by. And don't forget, they also have Katie Bingham over there, and she is the new patient care coordinator. If you're noticing a depletion of your hearing, what? What did he say, Martha? You better get a hearing screening. So call them today at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Wheels, the weather.
Relatively calm for today and for the rest of the week. It kind of doesn't even feel like the end of November. Looks like sunny skies for today on the calm side, high of 43 tonight. We do have a 20% chance of rain and or snow showers in the forecast. Going to be breezy as well, low of 27. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, gusts right around 30 miles an hour. High of 39 is what we're looking at. Tomorrow night, mostly clear skies with a low of 22. For Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 42 with an overnight low of 25. And for Friday, partly sunny skies, high of about 45, and looks like a low of 31. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, the absolute best. How do I know? They help me. They can help you. Call them at 312-0957. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, hello there.
Well, hi there.
I would like to speak a little bit more about Roy Moore.
Okay.
Okay. You know, they said all of these bad things about him that happened some time ago, but the one that sticks with me the most is when he was the Supreme Court Justice of Alabama, and he would not take down the Ten Commandments, and that's why he lost his position there.
Yep.
Now, they can say all the bad things they want about it, but by gosh, that alone would say that man has principles, wouldn't you?
Well, wait a minute, though, Keith, and I think you're going to agree with me, and we'll be on the same side of the fence here. The allegations against Judge Roy Moore at this point are still allegations, and some of which have been proven already to be absolutely worthless. I am not going to stand up on a pedestal, and I don't think you should either, and give an advocacy of Judge Roy Moore. I think we should remain a neutrality to the point where let's see how this shakes out. Let's find out the truth, and then from that juncture go forward and raise the banner of guilty or not guilty. But I'm not going to stand up for the man. I'm not going to stand against the man, because allegations can hurt anybody when they're unfounded. And right now I'm taking a deep seat, holding on to that buck rein and saying, let her buck, because I'm not going to do anything until we find out the truth.
Well, you know, the thing that is ironic is the fact that this was never brought out, and I think you talked about it earlier in the show, that this happened 40 years ago, and now they cannot prove that this was true. These people would not come up with the yearbook that he supposedly signed.
Yeah.
You know, all these things are just getting to be false.
Well, let me ask you this.
It really needs to be addressed here, Zeb.
Keith, you know,
if he does win, and they try to scorn him when he gets to the Senate, and they want to replace him, they have a Republican governor, and there again, it will be a Republican that would replace him. So that is one reason why I would like him to win for sure.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, I'll go back to the simplicity of what I said earlier, and you know this is true. In this country, you are presumed, supposedly, innocent until proven guilty. And I'm not going to jump on anybody's bandwagon until I find out the truth. That's the nature of this program. I'm not going to say things that I think are prejudicially just my opinion without having a basis of fact to back them up. And I think you respect that.
Yes, and another thing is Facebook. I detest that altogether, because somebody can say something derogative about you, and before you can even have anything to say about it, it goes out.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a pillow.
Yeah.
Open it in the wind, and the feathers go everywhere and try to gather them up. You can't do it.
I've been the subject of a lot of these so-called social media barrages against me, and most of these people are just simply clowns looking for a circus, and they've got the IQ of a bicycle spoke. I don't give them any credence, and I let them have their fun and their fray, but I don't give them any credit whatsoever. Hey, Keith, I got to run and do a commercial, but you are always welcome. Thank you.
It's an empty barrel. And that's what I'm with. Bye.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to say or do anything negative about Judge Roy Moore, and I'm certainly not going to be like some of the Republicans, and I'm pointing my finger at the Republicans. Whoa, stop the bus there, Hoss. Let's make sure we got all the facts in before you start putting somebody out in front of the pavement ahead of the bus and run over them until we find out all the truth. I want to thank you, and that is, of course, for making this program number one in its time slot. And also want to mention some people that have really helped propel us every year into a big listenership, and that's our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They have been so helpful to me, and I really appreciate all 7 locations. And they're telling you right now to get ready for wintertime driving. I don't want to. I hate wintertime driving. I hate pulling a trailer, going sideways down the road and seeing the reading of the license plate on the trailer. I don't like that, but you got to get ready for it and make sure you got tires with the tread designs that'll get you through the muck, the yuck, the ice, and the snow, and everything else. Along with all your tire chains, and of course the best in brake service, and front end alignments, and shocks and struts, and batteries. There is nothing that gives you more of a uh-oh feeling than to go out, put the key in, and turn it, and go click, click. You got a dead battery. Have your battery checked, and if it's not going to cut the cake for you this winter, you better get a good one, a new one, from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. We're doing the right thing matters at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. Absolutely. Oh, and one other thing, there's going to be a great big Christmas party. Let me tell you about this over at Four Paws Bed and Bath. I love this. They're going to have Santa Claus over there, and they're going to have all kinds of door prizes, and they're going to have all kinds of fun things going on at Four Paws annual Christmas party. It's going to be an open house Christmas party December 9th from 11 to 2 at 370 West 200 South of Rupert. Number to call 438-4444. Free pictures with Santa and all your pets and everything. Grand prize giveaway. Don't miss it at Four Paws, their annual Christmas party open house on December 9th. Caller, I've got exactly 30 seconds. Go.
Hey, Hoss, this is the Chief.
Yes, sir.
Those code talkers over there in Washington, they weren't offended by what President Trump said. They just didn't know what he was talking about.
I agree.
The press is trying to make it seem like they were offended.
I agree with you. Chief, I hate to say this because I love talking to you, but you're called in a little late and I got to run to the news, but you're 100% spot on. God bless you. Merry Christmas to you. He's gone. I am too, for 7 minutes. I'll be right back. Oh, my goodness sakes, good morning, good morning. A beautiful morning, Tuesday, November 28th. I'm Zeb Bell. Wheels is over at the board at our main studios and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with, of course, get ready for wintertime driving. They've got all the tires, everything you need. Be safe out there. And also some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services, and I've made a commitment. Yeah, I have. I've made a commitment that between Christmas and New Year's, I'm going to get a dumpster. I'm going to park it out back of the back window here to the north, and I'm going to open the window up, and we are going to pitch and throw. Look out. We're going to clean this office up. It's a mess. Anyway, they've got dumpsters in various sizes. All you have to do is just get a hold of them today. They're always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Western Waste Services. You get a hold of them today. Okay? By the way, I've got to pay some bills here. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Our dear friend Doug over at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to call, 878-4991. I'll tell you what, he appreciates your business, Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. He can help you. He has and he will. And he wants you to remember the date of Jesus coming, and that, of course, is the birth date of Jesus, December 25th, the reason for the season of Christmas. Thank you, Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. Somebody else I want to say thank you to quickly before I get my guest on the air, and that's, of course, our friends with Hanson Mortuary and Joel Heward. Joel, I have never seen you without a smile on your face. You are one of the friendliest, nicest people, great personality, and so the family and the staff the same way. Just really nice people serving you
and your family. When there's the passing of a loved one, they are there to help you. They are there always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please call the number 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you and your family. Right now, let's say a good morning. This guy scares me. I'll tell you what, I don't know that much about machines and robotics and all this other kind of stuff, but I'll tell you, I think I've had this man on my program before, and he really knows all about artificial intelligence, which I wished he would pass some along to the Democrats. Anyway, Bruce Tedesco, good morning to you.
Morning, Zeb.
What in the world are you saying with this headline? Will artificial intelligence be the last human invention? Woohoo, that sounds a little ominous.
Ominous and sad. That is a headline that's making its way around these days. I don't worry about it. I'm an AI, artificial intelligence evangelist. I'm an optimist. And so I don't get worried about some of the scare headlines. I don't think robots are going to kill us or eat us, and I don't think that AI is the last human invention. That actually, even though it's kind of absurd thinking about it, it came from a really smart guy. One of the code breakers in Britain that helped crack the Enigma code of the German U-boats. And a great thinker, a wonderfully intelligent man. But he liked to conjecture. He liked to surmise. So he's one of the founders of artificial intelligence. And one of his musings was, I don't know, this is pretty good. Maybe we don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
And while it's possible that could be, if it does work, if it does happen, we're a long way from it taking place, and there's absolutely no evidence that it will be the last thing that's invented.
Let me ask you this, Bruce. Let me ask you this. Are you on a speakerphone or using a handheld?
I was using my headset.
Okay, well, hold it real close to your mouth, because if it's a speakerphone, turn it off and just go with a handheld, because it's really got an echo to it. So I'd prefer that you use just a direct into the microphone if you would.
Is this any better?
Yeah, hold it real close. Thank you. Bruce, what about where we are right now with the roboticism that's going on at various businesses, and then this big push for cars that can drive themselves? I got to be honest with you, I don't want to live in that society. Are we close to where human beings are going to lose a lot of employment because of robotics?
I don't think so. I think it's a reasonable fear to have, and every time there's been a transformational type of event in our history, we worry about that. I grew up in Pittsburgh in the steel mills. I wasn't in the steel mills. My father was. And he lost his job, and everyone was waiting for the mills to reopen. Now Pittsburgh is a tech center. They're actually building robotics in Pittsburgh. And we may lose professions, but we're not going to lose jobs. I think that, if anything, the future looks really good for better employment, higher paying jobs, making the country stronger, and bringing our education at a level to make us competitive globally, so that we don't keep seeing jobs go overseas. They can stay right here in America.
Okay, now I can buy almost everything you said, with the exception of a couple of words that you said that I wrote down. You don't think we may lose professions, pardon me, but we won't lose jobs. But what about losing our soul? What about losing our humanity? That's what I'm afraid of.
That's up to us. I don't want to lose my humanity. And I don't think most of the scientists the engineers that are creating some of these new fields want to lose that either. We had that same worry back in the days of the robber barons. People were worried that John Pierpont Morgan Jr. was going to take away the souls of people in the company towns that he housed and fed in the way that suited him, how he thought people should live, while he lived on that really nice mansion on Madison Avenue in New York City. So we always have that kind of lurking in the background, Zeb. But I personally think that if each one of us individually keep our souls forefront all of the time, we don't need to have our technology take it over.
Okay, but now, Bruce, you will agree with me that we've lost our privacy. We've lost our being able to get away from the maddening crowds, because no matter where you are, they can find you. They can track you. No matter what you say in major cities, they can hear you. They know everything about us. We've lost our identity, and we're just part of a great big tape recorder that knows exactly where Bruce Tedesco and Zeb Bell are 24/7. I don't like that.
I don't care much for that either. So a way to think about that, there two things come to mind, Zeb, and I'll do this quickly. One, to find either one of us at any one time is not an easy task. And so while it could happen and someone with malicious intent can come after us, the fact of the matter is they really don't care about any one person. The other point is the reason for this sort of necessity that there does need to be, at least from a security and defense standpoint, some notion of keeping track of who is where and what they're up to is needed, as our combatants now aren't nation states. Our combatants now are these independent and horrible terrorists that are looking to move their agenda forward by getting rid of us.
Okay.
And so we do need to give up a little bit of our own privacy to enable security to keep us safe.
Okay, but wait a minute, though, Bruce. You're the expert, but I've got a lot of questions. I'm just an old cowboy from Idaho. But with the hacking situation that's going on in the world today, and people are able to get into different computer venues and literally lift the information on people, their careers, what they eat, where they go to shop, etc., the hacking issue, you're not going to be safe anywhere because of hackers and illicit governments that want to do harm, and also terrorism.
I'm also worried about the hackers. I've got no good answer for that other than there are some pretty smart people in the cybersecurity business that work for us, work for the good guys. And for every bad actor that comes along with their hacking abilities, and they are, pardon me, they are all over the world in places that we don't want to be. But we've got our own cybersecurity folks that are keeping up and making progress against them, and I'm rooting for them. I think it's kind of in the days where we put some trust in Interpol and we put some trust in the CIA before some certain things happen.
Yeah, but you're the expert. I mean, you put over 40 years of your life in marketing and brand strategy, according to the cheat sheet I've got here. You're the expert scientist. But let me ask you this then. Have we surpassed and absolutely started to rewrite the book of George Orwell's 1984? Have we gone way beyond that, and now we're starting a couple of new chapters? I'm kind of worried about this.
Well, even though we passed the actual 1984, I don't think what we really read in the book has come to pass. We certainly have seen slivers of it here, there, and everywhere, but we have not found a full nation in the state that Orwell painted. So those images lurk around. For me, they make good movies. I used to be in the motion picture business, and so they're good for box office, but I don't think that really foretells what we're going to see in this next phase of the world. I find AI is bringing us a safer, calmer, more secure world. I think we have better jobs. We've got better education, all because of AI. And yes, you're absolutely right, Zeb, on all of these, all the points that you raised. There's reason to worry, but there's also reason to be optimistic. I find this to be comforting, using my expertise now, when I see the headway that we're making, the progress that we're getting forward in creating a world that helps us, doesn't hinder us. And we are still inventing everything.
Yeah.
AI is not going to be, maybe the last human invention in 3 or 4 millennia. But right now, it's us, and we're going to have a really appealing culture to live in.
Let me ask you this, and Bruce, don't think I'm some hick from the sticks when I ask you this question, but well, while you were talking, I got to thinking about this. With artificial intelligence and everything out there on the cyber world, won't we be creating a diminishment of our cultures where only the wealthy will be able to afford, whether it's a robotic dog playing out in the yard, playing catch with a ball, and maybe all of the Alexa, go find this on the computer and play this song, that type of thing. Aren't we going to be eliminating the middle and lower class of incomes in our society by having that occur?
That's a great question. And I think it might be a natural place to go when we look at a couple of examples that you brought up. If we go back a little bit further, though, now I'm holding my phone in my hand. So I'm holding in my hand more computer power than I had in the 5 computers in my office in 1986, 2 years after Orwell. Mm-hmm. There is, and each one of them cost about $4,000. So the price and the functionality of AI, robotics, typically and has been without fail dropping. So no, nobody's going to be able to buy that little puppy right now. No one that can't afford $5,000 for a mechanical dog. But I'll bet you it's going to be $50 for a mechanical dog in 5 years, and $5 for a mechanical dog in 20 years. Mm-hmm. So I think we are not necessarily excluding people. It's just a natural progression as time passes and our inventions continue to grow. We continue to, as I had said before, we help our economy. There is more disposable income, and some of the goodness of AI, the helping us. AI is not just to do automated labor. AI is supposed to be fun. So I think that can spread through middle income and lower income as it should. I really do think that.
You know,
I think it's healthy.
Let me ask you this, Bruce. What about the world? And let's just take, for example, the United Nations. When they meet in New York City for one of their summits, and you've got your rich, you've got your mediocre, and you've got your very dirt poor countries. How are the dirt poor countries going to exist and survive without takeovers from the almost rich or the very rich if they can't afford this artificial intelligence or the change in our society?
That's another really key question. It's complicated. It's worth time and thought, and I believe it is starting to be addressed. We've always had this problem, and the underdeveloped countries do find ways, one by one, to come across that divide. When I was at Ipsos, we were present in 83 countries. One of the things that surprised me was that in some of the poorer, underdeveloped countries, one of the things that was starting to hold people together, tie people together, and make societies a little bit stronger, everybody had mobile phones. So they had almost nothing else. The last time I was in India, I saw people walking across these fields carrying things on their head. They were barely dressed, but they had a mobile phone.
Oh, my.
And I know that Microsoft is doing a lot of great work in making non-cable or non-fiber optic phones available in the developing world. So that's one example of a company that's doing good and trying to bring people together. And, of course, communication brings people together. I think that there are some, believe it or not, at the United Nations, they really do have a couple of committees that are addressing this. And Ivanka Trump is actually in India right now, I believe. And this is one of the topics on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring up a great point in this. It's not something I know the answer to, but I see some of the steps in place that will bring us answers.
You know, I wished I had more time, and I'm going to ask you to come back in the future. I find you fascinating, and certainly hope that you'll come back, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Bruce Tedesco, thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thanks for having me, Zeb. It's great to be here.
All right, sir. God bless. Thank you. Nice man, and it's kind of chilling, really, when you think about getting into a self-driving taxi and take me to the airport really fast, and if you say really fast, that could be the end of your life in a self-driving taxi. But artificial intelligence may be the last human invention. I'm going to have him back. That was interesting. Okay, got to pay some bills. Where do I start? Right here. Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, Dr. Bill and the whole crew, I'm telling you, you better get in there and make sure that your animals are healthy. They can take care of them, whether the little bitty kitty cats or a great big bunch of dairy cows. Ark Animal Hospital is a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. They take care of them all. And I want to stress, Dr. Bill told Deanne this, that winter is very dangerous because your dog's going down near the river or whatever. There is a blue-green algae that grows, and it is deadly for dogs. So please keep them away from the river, keep them away from this algae, or it might be too late. Ark Animal Hospital giving you this information. For more, give them a call at 678-1177, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Hayburn. Boy, they do have warm hearts for cold noses. Really nice people. And Merry Christmas. We're going to ring the bells. Hold on, I forgot. There we go. Merry Christmas wishes from Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-1722. Company coming. Oh, look at your carpet. It's pretty well seen better days. You better get a brand new carpet. Yep, for the holidays, Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert. Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West of Paul, and at Red Cap Corner on Kimberly Road, your Zamatic dealer. They will get you wet. Congratulations to all the farmers for a great harvest. Don't forget Butte Irrigation. And last but not least, let's not forget our friends. I choked. That's why I had to wait a minute. Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Yeah, old Tim and the crew. I mean, hey, they build anything. They do all the manufacturing, material handling, food-grade equipment, conveyors, commodity mixing. Oh, my. Merry Christmas from Streamline Precision. Great people, 431-7314 or 678-9204. Christmas wishes from those great businesses. Thank you very much. In just a few moments, we are going to have our next guest. But you know what? I want to remind everybody that on a couple of weeks, man, it's right around the corner, we're going to have that great big Christmas special party at Denny's Restaurant in Burley, December 14th from 8 to 11. Now listen to this. Merry Christmas from Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley and Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland with Jeff and the whole crew. Listen to this. You go in there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Starting anytime, today, whatever, and then go up to the counter and take your receipt, sign your name on it, and your telephone number, and you might be the lucky winner of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner, compliments of Denny's and Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Oh, my goodness, the drawing's going to be on Thursday, December 14th at Denny's during my broadcast over there for their Christmas party, and our big thanks go to Jeff and the crew at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Super, super nice people. Let's see what else have I got. In just a moment, we're going to have Jeff Cantor on the air, so stand by for that. But before we go over to that part of our program, I want to remind you again about Let's Ride. Oh, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Get your motor running. Whether it's a new 2018 snowmobile or whether you're still out riding on the four-wheelers or the side-by-sides, oh, they've got them all. They've got them all over there at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness, open Monday through Friday 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. They've got all the accessories. Great accessory department. You don't want to miss anything over there. Great Christmas giving. And to keep you running, the best doggone service department around. All of this at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Really great folks over there. And all of us need to make sure that we're covered with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. You know, for you, your family, and your business, nobody serves you better than Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 over in Rupert. All you need to do, you got to pick up the ball and start by going to the phone and going to 436-4424. Yep. Start it rolling. Make an appointment. These folks are dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert. 436-4424. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to Jeff Cantor. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you there today?
Well, I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for a break. I'm also ready to hear more about what's going on in healthcare with a whole bunch of mergers that may be good, may be bad. Tell us about it. You're the expert.
Well, it depends on which side of the fence you're on as to who it's good for. If you're inside those companies, it's going to be pretty good for a lot of them. And it's going to be the consumers. It's going to end up probably being a mixed bag. Because the way this thing is consolidating down, it's getting a little scarier because we get down to that one last player on the field, and that's the only one we get to pick from. So it becomes a challenge on whether that's going to be good for all of us.
Now, when you say mixed bag, the only kind of a mixed I like of anything is like when I get Planters peanuts and there's mixed nuts in there. I don't like surprises. How bad is this thing going to get with some of these mergers? Basically, having a control of the market, if you will.
Well, it depends, because if they certainly side with certain doctors only or, that type of a situation, it's going to limit a lot of options. It'll be quite good for them because they'll be more vertical they'll have the doctors, the hospitals, the insurance, the pharmacy, depending on how all these mergers start to try to align. So from a corporate perspective, that's going to be quite a good plan for them. But we don't really know what will be the consumer's side of the coin, as far as whether there's going to be more competitiveness or it's going to become a little more monopolistic and they can kind of charge whatever prices they wish. And then if they get so-called too big to fail kind of a size, that if ever things are a little tight, then they're going to turn to the government potentially to look for monies to keep them afloat.
Jeff, I've had a fear ever since Obamacare was in its fledgling stages that something would be dumped, i.e. Obamacare, and the Democrats would let us all succumb to a single-payer insurance, one-size-fits-all. When you talk about these mergers, isn't that just kind of foot in the cement type of thing, leading us towards a single-payer system?
It sort of could be, or a different variant of that, where there's just a couple of key players out there, out of the way the world works right now with Medicare, where there's a variety of insurance companies that make those supplements or Medicare Advantage plans. So it's a single-payer mentality for Medicare, and they've, given favors or bestowed upon them exclusivities to have a few key companies participate. So it's almost a de facto single-payer in certain respects. Potentially, you're right.
Is our health care, Jeff, and again, you're the expert, and I really respect having you on the air, but is our health care in this country, has it seen its best days, and now it's Katie bar the door, look out, consumer?
Well, like anything, and any time there's a crisis or things kind of come to a head, opportunities definitely lie. And that's kind of where we've tried to jump into the fray and what we're doing, because realistically, what you're describing in your questioning of me up till now is big, giant, monolithic entities becoming more involved with each other, as it were. But where do we talk about the individual patient or the individual doctor, the two human beings in the equation? That didn't come up in any of your conversations. So the reality is that those two entities, the consumer and the doctors, they need to partner up and withdraw, kind of vote with your feet and withdraw from that other situation wherever they're able to. That'll force the others to either compete on the terms of consumer prefers, or will lose them business where they're going to either have to modify what they do or ultimately be out of business.
Okay, now you are the co-founder of my Academy of Health Excellence Healthcare Insurance. Explain a little bit about what you're doing, what you do, and why.
Well, it's to do exactly what I was describing. It's kind of recreating. I kind of described this past where you used to go to the doctor. The doctor would come to your home, and then you would pay them when they left. And now I have to drive to their offices, and I have a little copay. So the whole thing kind of switched upside down. We're just recreating it back to the original configuration, where it starts with the patient, because they're the one paying the money. They're the one that has the health or the health issue, either or. And then their connection is to their doctor. So that becomes the initial building block, and then everything is to build off of that. So we've created that in a commercial product called HealthExcellencePlus.com, and that really allows doctors and consumers to be in control. The consumers are total control. They're controlling the monies. They're controlling who they access. And we use a mix of insurance and medical cost sharing. So we have to be a more efficient model and also keep prices a lot lower. So we're typically a lot cheaper than a conventional insurance program would be.
Jeff, and when you start talking about health insurance, and I know that our Senator Mike Crapo has been on our program many, many times. He was a real staunch advocate about dumping Obamacare. The key word that I've heard a lot of these people say, whether it's Dr. Elena George and others that have been on my program, is competition. If we would instill and keep competition in healthcare, we'd all be a lot better off. How would you respond to that?
That's 100% correct. That's exactly the whole idea. Instead of having every doctor in town be under contract with one hospital as they get consumed, is to give them a mechanism to continue to operate independently. Because obviously then they're going to compete on price or innovation or service. And if they're all kind of working for one operation, everybody's kind of doing everything the exact same way, so there's no opportunity for anything to occur, and we'll never know what prices are. And competition really just means knowing what prices are. It's like going to the corner and seeing 4 gas stations on each corner fighting for penny differences to get you to come to their station. And the same holds true whether you're getting an MRI or a lab test. There's no reason, and there already are plenty of entities that compete on that, but the way the system's set up right now, delivered through insurance from the top down rather than the bottom up, they're dictating where you go and what you're going to pay.
Yeah.
So you'll never break out of that cycle if you stay using those types of products. We're just saying those products are great for like a house or a car, which is a static item, but your health is a moving target. It changes all the time. You need something that's more flexible that you personally control, because a one-size-fits-all doesn't fit too well when it comes to your health. Not so bad when most homes are similar-ish, so you can certainly have a one-size-fits-all mentality when it comes to insurance. But you get 10 people the same medication, you get 10 different reactions to that medication. No two people are alike when it comes to health or their health issues. So it has to be customized, and the only one who knows best is you, yourself, and then whoever you trust is your helper, your doctor, whoever is your coach or assistant in that regard.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. I'm going to give you a little hypothetical situation here. Jeff Cantor has just been appointed as the man that's going to speak to the Republicans in the House and the Senate about the possibility of changing drastically everything with Obamacare or getting rid of it in its entirety. What would you tell the Republicans, and how would you change this so it could be passed through and we could see the elimination of Obamacare and not go to a single-payer system?
You know, I wish there was a way to say that, Zeb. I mean, the problem is whether it's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, they seem to want to have some level of control, either one seeming wanting more or less, or at least some dictating as to what happens. And the reality, what you were just describing and I was talking about, there's no place for them to be involved in that. So the thing I would ask them to do is just remove the government from the idea of health care altogether. Good. And just let the market, the consumers and doctors and everything that normally innovates in the rest of the world, let that figure out what the best solutions are. So that's going to be tough because they definitely don't want to give up the one thing, which is to leave us alone. They just don't want to do that. And, you know, concur with that, their other big problem is as they do try to do something, its sole goal is to appease every single voter. How are they going to make that happen? They put every single thing in there, and then, of course, it doesn't work because they've loaded it up with goodies, and they don't want to charge what it's to pay because people will object to that, so they want to appease the people that want a low price, and yet they want to include everything under the sun. So their whole approach will never, ever function. We keep saying you just need to turn your back and walk away.
Boy, my respect for you has gone up 1,000% because I've long said on this program, get out of Dodge City. Dodge City being the healthcare business. The government should have never got involved in it in the first place. And I hate to sound like I'm being calloused and not caring for families, but you know what? We cannot be all things to all people. You can't cover everybody because of the differences in various personalities, their mode of income, etc. And we've opened up a Pandora's box of problems in this country. I don't think it can ever be solved.
Not like that, because you're exactly right. We used to have a much better situation on our health care, you know, in the early 1900s when we had, you know, lodges and other mechanisms and charities, and there was a whole array of stuff that took care of the people that didn't have any capabilities. And, of course, there were a few probably people that fell through the crack like always, but those are the areas of improvement that could have been dealt with. But the bulk of the population had a way to take care of their health, and somehow somebody decided it was broken, and that somehow the government would do a better job of fixing it. And, of course, now it's completely disrailed. There's no connection between cost and reality, and no one knows what's going on, and everyone's frustrated, and no one knows who to blame.
When you look at...
We then keep doing, like you just said, is how do we go back to the government? How do we go back to the insurance company and tell them we want this? They're the ones that have screwed the whole thing up in the first place. Why would we go back to them to look for a solution?
Amen.
We already have the solution. I kind of thought we're like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. We're already wearing the ruby slippers. We just get out of here. Like you said, there's places to go, ways to manage this for your own self. We're one good solution, but there's hardly the only one. And I would definitely, like I said, encourage everyone to go take a look at HealthExcellencePlus.com and at least understand what you could do as a consumer, whether you're doing it under your own power or with us assisting. But the key is what I'm saying is you've got to walk away from this current mechanism because it's going to continue to fail perpetually.
You know, let me ask you about two situations that are exacerbating bigger problems every day, and that's Medicare, Medicaid. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel, or is it a train coming at us head on?
Well, you left one more car off that train there. That's Social Security.
Amen. Yep.
So,
Yep.
You know, we definitely have a big problem because, you know, the fallacy of most government programs is they don't don't review what they've done, like a company, or you would look at your budget from year to year. Those programs were created when people didn't live very long. And so nothing was ever done to modify that. And then no one had predicted the demographics where there would be more retirees than people working. And so the whole thing has become quite perverted, yet no one is willing, just like I said before with what they do in Washington, because everyone needs to appease everybody and no one wants to be the bearer of bad news. So they seemingly put their head in the sand and refuse to touch it. But you're exactly right. It is a total train wreck coming. Somehow somebody's going to have to pay the piper on that thing. And the sad reality is, which is really kind of morally just sad on our end of it, we're binding future generations that haven't even been born yet to this debt that we're accruing to save and cover our own selves at this stage, the current generation.
Absolutely. Jeff, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I certainly hope that you'll come back on the program for future conversations. You're very, very knowledgeable, and God bless. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
You the same way. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate that.
All right, sir. Thank you. Jeff Cantor. And he knows about healthcare and the rut, honestly, the rut that we're in. And I don't know if we're ever going to get out of it. And like I said, months and months and months ago, government, get out of it. Get out of it. Should have never got in it in the first place. Okay, we got to get the weather forecast on in here. Oh, man, I'm telling you what, looking outside my window, it is a beautiful day out there. Right now, the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. How do I know that? How do I know they're good? Well, I go there. Leyden Crane absolutely has done us a great, great job. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, and 2 offices to serve you, one in Burley, one in Rupert. And don't forget, it's about time to get all your 1099s and W-2s out and tax planning before the end of the year with Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's the weather.
Relatively calm for today and for the rest of the week. It kind of doesn't even feel like the end of November. Looks like sunny skies for today on the calm side, high of 43 tonight. We do have a 20% chance of rain and or snow showers in the forecast. Going to be breezy as well, low of 27. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, gusts right around 30 miles an hour. High of 39 is what we're looking at. Tomorrow night, mostly clear skies with a low of 22. For Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 42 with an overnight low of 25. And for Friday, partly sunny skies, high of about 45, and looks like a low of 31. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
She does a great job. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And I'll tell you what, they'd like to thank everybody out there for their business this past year. Work with the best. And that's, of course, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company in Burley and Rupert. I've got time, and I'd love to have you give me a call about anything that we've talked about so far this morning. Give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, by the way, a Merry, Merry Christmas from Senator Kelly Anthon. I like this guy. I mean, he has absolutely been one of the best to serve this area, and he really cares about his constituents, and so he wishes you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Senator Kelly Anthon over from the Rupert area cares, and it shows. Senator Kelly Anthon, Merry Christmas. All right, your turn. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, this time of the year, and I'm chuckling because I have got literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 piles of papers that I need to keep everything kind of separated. Well, this goes with this for Christmas, this goes with this for the commercials now, and this goes, boy. It just absolutely is mind-blowing the way my desk looks right now. I said earlier this morning about different things in the news that really are troubling to me, and this is one that I absolutely have no respect for whatsoever. The Black Lives Matter group which I have absolutely found to be detestable, deplorable, and I wish they were not even in existence. There, I guess I've let my feelings be known. A Black Lives Matter chapter in Los Angeles is calling on blacks to refuse to buy any goods from white-owned businesses and only take that money and invest it in the black community. Because they said that if you go to shop at a white business, you are promoting President Trump's white capitalism. Isn't this sickening? This is so sickening that they're going out and fracturing America, causing more divisiveness, and absolutely going against anything as far as integration of the races, trying to get along. All they're doing is being divisive. And I hate these people for acting in the manner that they are doing. Black Lives Matter is asking people to wake up, to be conscious of their own economic power, and to protest not in the streets alone, but also in the malls. In other words, they want to completely fracture anything as far as capitalism and hurt old mighty whitey. We can't shop there. You talk about racism? You talk about being racist? They are. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I want to tell you about a great big stock cow sale, a special stock cow sale that's going to be at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And it's going to be on December 11th, Monday, December 11th, starting at 12 noon, and they're taking consignments right now, and you can get a hold of Merv May at 431-5735, or call Lance Udy, or call Cade Rogge. Cade's number 431-0074, and believe me, they're going to have a lot of good young cows, over 200 head. They're going to have a lot of 150 middle-aged cows, and of course the sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, December 11th at high noon, great big stock cow sale. Don't you miss it. Good one. Real good one. Anything those boys over there at Burley put on at the Burley Livestock, it's going to be A1, absolutely. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about this divisiveness here in this country? It's getting worse every day. Black lives matter. No, black lives don't matter. All lives matter. That raised the eyebrows on a bunch of people. It's the truth. I will never, ever change and will not be politically correct. All lives matter. And for heaven's sakes, the divisiveness. Oh, don't you shop over there at Mighty Whitey's. Why, that's creating more money for capitalism. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Hey, this is Clarence. Is there a way we can kind of come back at them like they have with us on racism and discrimination? Is there someone there we can go after and put a suit against them? Throw some of their own medicine right back down their throats. When you read that, I could see Kaepernick involved in something like that. That sounds like something he might get started like he did with the flag.
You know, Clarence, I will say this. I wouldn't lower myself to go to their level to try to have retribution back to them. I think these are detestable, deplorable people that are absolutely doing nothing more than trying to hurt America through racism. That's what I think of the Black Lives Matter.
Well, that's very true. We're going to have to get to, we're going to have to come back to Adam that some way. And people are letting them just keep pushing and pushing it. It's really disgusting. Very disgusting. I was sitting the other day watching TV, and it's even you got all these commercials that. And they're getting to be nothing but black people in them, too. On TV, all your commercials got to have a black person in there, whether it's, You know, and it really is opening my eyes that they are really pushing in this country. They just push, you know.
Well, I appreciate your...
They try to blame us for bringing them into this country. Well, you know, we didn't bring them in there. Our great forefathers might have. And actually, it was traders that brought them in, and some of their own people were those traders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Clarence, I want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas, and I'll talk about this a little bit more on the air. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
You betcha, Zeb, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you too, bud.
All right. Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you. Thank you. You know, he brings up an excellent point, but I don't want to be to where I say, oh, well, did you see that commercial that had a black man in it? I don't care. As long as the races that are in a movie or a commercial or any kind of a television show, whatever, are getting along. Why do we have to have this divisiveness? Why do we have to look at things on a color-by-color basis? Why do they, the Black Lives Matter, have to create more divisiveness and hate by saying don't shop at any white-owned business? Oh, no, we don't want to help Mighty Whitey. That's pathetically racist from the get-go. And I have no use for anybody, whether they're here in this area or anywhere. I have no use for those people. They're disgusting and totally against what America stands for. And I will condemn them on my program every time I get a chance. We are seeing more racism being displayed in this country, I think now, more than even back in the 60s with Selma, Alabama, etc. And it's being caused by groups that want to see a fragmentation and a breakdown of American values. Damn them. Damn them. And I mean that. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, another Christmas wish from a super, super great gentleman that I've enjoyed working with over the years, and that's Representative Fred Wood. Fred really cares about your family and you, and he's been just absolutely a blessing to have up at our legislative session representing this area, and he wants to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and looks forward to serving you in the future and the future of Idaho. Representative Fred Wood, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you very much. We're going to take a little break right now. I see Dr. History just walked in the door, went to my refrigerator, started eating food, taking out water, etc. He knows, he feels right at home here. And Dr. History is going to be here in the studio with us coming up this next hour. He missed last week. He was having a Thanksgiving kind of a vacation with his family, and that was nice. That was really nice, and it's good to have him back here in the studio. Don't forget Denny's annual Christmas party, Thursday, December 14th from 8 to 11. I'll be broadcasting over there live and direct like we have for about the last 3-4 years. Zeb at the Ranch, I'll be there. Door prizes, Santa Claus, and register for that great big recliner from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And Denny's, wow, it's going to be great. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, great big Christmas party coming up on December 14th. Right now, let's head to the news. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning, and I hope everybody is doing well out there, getting ready for Christmas. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, reminding you it might look really good out there, but get ready for winter driving. All of your 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. On Thursdays, we have a special segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by 2 wonderful businesses. First of all, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Great place to go Christmas shopping. Great place for toys, games, puzzles, all kinds of things, baby clothing, baby furniture. Oh, my goodness, I could go on and on. Just stop in and see them today at Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Life-saving colonoscopies, cataract surgery, carpal tunnel surgery, all of this and more. Call them and find out how they can save you money at 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Kesha County on Thursdays at 10:10. Oh, my goodness, look who's here. It's from the North Country, and he borrowed Santa's sleigh to get down here today. Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hello, buddy.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. Cold, but sunny.
You had a great Thanksgiving.
We did. Yep, got together with family and friends. And
who cooked the turkey?
The family and friends. Not me. It was great. Had a good time.
Good. So, and beautiful weather.
Oh, it was nice. Down in St. George.
Oh, you're making me jealous.
I know. It was nice.
We missed you last week, but we had a good conversation with Ray Bagby.
Good.
And learned more about wagons in the Old West. But what are you going to talk about today?
This is the final and ending chapter of Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians.
You know, let me see if I can remember. We left Chief Joseph, and they were just starting to take off on their ride, weren't they?
They had. I'm going to give a little summary, okay?
Okay, good.
So people know geographically what we're talking about. We're talking about southeastern Washington, northeastern Oregon, and across the border into central Idaho, near what we call Grangeville now, the Salmon River, the Clearwater area. Right. So that's the area where all this is taking place.
Okay.
Now, they were told they had 30 days to get out of from their homelands and get to the reservation.
What was the big hurry? You never did explain that to me.
They just said you have 30 days.
30 days? To me, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, just go. So they were working at that, trying. Well, during this time, there were 21 young warriors that wanted revenge, and that kind of started the battle works going. On June 17th, there was a battle at Whitebird Creek, which was a Captain Perry, which was a complete rout of the Army. Right. None of the Indians were killed. Now, July 11th was the Battle of the Clearwater with General Howard. And
that's the one where they were on each side of the river, and then the Indians went over on one side, etc.?
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to kind of pick it up from there and right up until the end. So anyway, so General Howard had deployed. He thought he was fighting about 300 first-class warriors. And so he actually went on the defensive. He deployed his troops in a huge circle, stationing himself and his staff in the middle. The general held his defense line for about 30 hours. Okay, the Nez Perce countered with an un-Indian-like tactic. All around the soldiers' defensive perimeter, the warriors dug rifle pits and built rock piles to protect themselves. Now, that's something the Indians...
that is something I did not know. But that's unheard of.
Yeah. Now, here you have an army of 600 troopers having been surrounded by about 100 Nez Perce Indians. 100.
Now, did the soldiers dig in also?
Well, they were kind of in a circle. Surrounding their general.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they dug in.
Sounds like a real brave guy.
Yeah. Anyway, and the Nez Perce horsemen would join their dug-in comrades, and the fighting went on. And this was hot. This was in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And Chief Joseph was seen from time to time fighting as an ordinary warrior. And the soldiers cut off from water, they fought thirst as well as the Nez Perce sharpshooters.
So now the soldiers were further inland.
They were surrounded.
Oh.
They were surrounded by the Indians.
Real bright general there.
Now, there was a Sergeant McCarthy, and here's what he said, quote, "The enemy everywhere fronting us or galloping by us, firing from horseback, musketry all around our position like firecrackers on 4th of July, howitzers booming, Gatling guns, Indians yelling, soldiers cheering, and the mules of our immense pack train braying loud enough to drown out all of the sounds, the sun on burnt necks and the thermometer somewhere around 100 and no water." That was from his journal.
How far were they from water, though?
I don't know. Because they were, you'd think there'd be creeks or something close by, but evidently they weren't close enough.
Yeah.
So,
and this is up by the Clearwater.
Right. So late in the day, the Indians began kind of losing interest in the battle. They didn't have much to gain, and so they left their trenches and took off and left. Now, realizing that he was opposed only by a token force, General Howard kind of ordered his command to advance. Well, the Nez Perce warriors, they just gradually took their women and children and basically left. So anyway, the outnumbered warriors had proved themselves capable of coping with an army's battle tactics. Leaders concluded that the bands would fight better if they were integrated under the joint command of the Council of Chiefs. So they had a council meeting on July 15th to discuss what to do. Now, Joseph declared himself in favor of returning south to fight for their homeland.
Where they were originally.
Right, back to their homeland. And he said, I do not want to die in a strange land. Now, the other chiefs wanted to keep going east, okay, where they might form kind of a military alliance with the Crows, okay. Looking Glass was the Crow, and but it was unanimously voted.
That would have taken them over into Montana, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes. But Looking Glass was unanimously voted to be the head man, to be the chief over the Indians there. So 5 bands of Nez Perce became a single group of refugees, basically. Now, so we're going to start with the retreat, all right? Now, the Nez Perce started up the Lolo Trail on July 16th, 7,000 feet. The way was blocked by boulders and trees and all this. Well, General Howard was still chasing them, and what he saw kind of figured they must have been desperate because they looked like the horses and mules were being just pushed, and some horses with broken legs laying beside the trail.
Really?
So, anyway, the Nez Perce, in just 11 days, they reached Montana, and they came out from the Lolo Canyon on July 27th, so we're still in the summer. They entered a cliffside narrows of the Bitterroot Valley and found that their way was blocked by a sturdy, kind of a timber barricade, and there was a guy by the name of Captain Charles Ron. Okay, now he was manning the roadblock with only 35 soldiers, hoping to block them from...
Did he know they were coming?
He must have done somehow because he had this roadblock set up.
I see, on the trail.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had 35 soldiers, about 200 volunteers, and a party of Flathead Indians.
So they didn't have Verizon back in those days, so they couldn't fall ahead.
They didn't. So Looking Glass, Joseph, and Whitebird went forward to ask this guy if they could pass. They just went, peacefully.
Oh, they went up to the captain?
Yeah, and he wouldn't agree. He said, no, I'm not going to let you go through. Well,
he only had 30 guys.
35. But he had 200 volunteers. But guess what? The volunteers decided, we've had enough. We're leaving.
Oh, they went back home.
They went back home. So the next morning, he was getting ready for a battle. And about 10 o'clock that morning, he looked way up on the side of the hill, and here's a bunch of Indians on horseback on the side of a cliff going past his blockade.
It didn't
They
work
just went around him.
They went around him.
They just went around him. So they dropped into
That's poor planning.
That was. So now here they are, kind of in the Bitterroot Valley area, and there's a place called Stevensville, and they moved south along the Bitterroot Valley 15 miles a day, and they didn't bother the settlers, and the settlers didn't bother them. General Howard, they thought, was several days behind, but he was a little closer than what they thought.
What about the guy that they went around his barricade? Did he offer any resistance whatsoever?
I kind of think he said, I'm not getting paid enough.
I see. One of those.
Yeah. So
a Barney Fife attitude.
I'm just going to stay right here.
I see.
So anyway, they crossed the Continental Divide into the Big Hole Valley, and that's not too far from the Salmon River.
Right.
And they were resting, grazing the herds, and just kind of taking it easy. Then there was a Colonel John Gibbon, 163 soldiers, 35 volunteers. They spotted the Indians in the Big Hole Valley. And at dawn on August 9th, Gibbon's men charged on foot and caught the Nez Perce fast asleep, which kind of surprising.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, because you're thinking, these guys have been on top of everything, and how did they get caught like this? Well, the Nez Perce was kind of a disorganized resistance. At the eastern end of the camp, Joseph and Whitebird and Looking Glass began rallying their people. They fought. A ragged line of warriors advanced against the troops, again outnumbered. And now the troops were caught in kind of a deadly crossfire from the Nez Perce snipers along the river, and soldiers were falling, and it was Colonel Gibbon who broke off the battle. He left.
Really?
Yeah.
He had
163 against maybe 100 Indians.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
So he ordered his troops to withdraw. Well, in the end, Gibbon had lost 29 dead, and the Indians had lost 89 by their count.
Yeah.
And all but of the Indians, 89, and all but 12 of their dead were women and children and old men.
Oh,
kind of a,
terrible.
Yeah. But anyway.
So it was basically a massacre.
It really was, even though they got away, sort of.
Yeah.
But the people blamed their loss on Looking Glass because he was kind of the chief of everything right there. So in their bitterness, they resolved to treat all whites as potential enemies. Scouts reported that General Howard had allowed his Indian scouts to scalp the Nez Perce dead. Now, earlier,
really?
I think I mentioned that the Chief Joseph told his warriors, do not desecrate their bodies.
You did mention that,
So,
leave the dead alone.
Yeah. So anyway, Howard continued to march after the Nez Perce. Ollicott, which is Chief Joseph's brother.
His brother,
he raced back through the darkness with 28 warriors to Howard's camp and drove off their mules. So they went back kind of as a guerrilla warfare thing and drove off the pack mules of General Howard's.
So he was kind of afoot.
Well, yeah, they probably had some horses.
Yeah.
So August 22nd, here we are getting into the fall almost. The bands crossed Targhee Pass, zigzagged eastward through Yellowstone. A lot of people don't realize he went through part of Yellowstone.
They came quite a ways south then.
They did, yeah. And again, the young men kind of broke Joseph's rule, and they did kill a few white settlers. So anyway, while the Nez Perce were struggling through the rugged mountains east of Yellowstone, Looking Glass galloped ahead to confer with the Crow Indians. Now, the Crows had scouted for the U.S. Army, and they were kind of afraid of the U.S. Army, so they weren't in any big hurry to join up.
And this is down by Yellowstone.
Yeah, kind of east in that direction.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now they had traveled about 1,000 miles.
What was the reason for going on such a long trek? Was it just primarily to evade?
Just to escape, because they figured if they were caught, they would just be massacred. So now next, they would try to get help from the Sioux, led by Sitting Bull, who had actually fled across the Canadian border earlier that year. They were hoping to get help. So the Nez Perce pulled themselves together, drew more heavily on the courage of Joseph, and really he was kind of their rock. He was their guardian. He was their main guy, really. So anyway, the Army units from 4 separate commands were now converging on the fugitives, and using an old trick, the Nez Perce allowed the soldiers to see them starting toward the Shoshone River, and then they did something a little unusual. They doubled back. The bands pushed on towards Yellowstone. Now they're in Montana. There's a Colonel Sturgis who picked up their trail and closed ground, was starting to get close to them. When Sturgis, and now here's this, 350 soldiers reached this creek. The Nez Perce sharpshooters held them off while the families hurried on. So basically, the families are keeping going. The warriors are staying to kind of block the way from the military.
And they held off almost 400.
350, yeah.
Wow.
Now, General Howard learned that the Nez Perce had escaped again. He was not happy with this. Okay, he figured they could wipe them out with but remember, he was called the Napoleon of the Indians.
Yeah.
Chief Joseph.
Yeah.
So anyway, he wrote to Colonel Miles, and they departed with 7 companies of infantry and a troop of cavalry.
That's a lot of guys.
We're getting a lot of guys here. Meanwhile, the Nez Perce broke out of the mountains onto the rolling terrain over there in Montana.
I have a dumb question.
Okay.
How did the soldiers or the United States cavalry, how did they know where to go and where to look for them?
I'm guessing it's just kind of, maybe they could follow their tracks, or maybe, I don't know if they had scouts out watching. I mean, that's a good question. But I guess they knew where they were headed. But by this time, some of the wounded and the sick were slowing things down, and so they began kind of dropping off and maybe even dying alone.
What would the cavalry, what would they have done? Do you have any idea on if they would have left the sick and the wounded?
It does not say, and I would hope there was some...
Yeah. Human interest there, yeah.
So now we're at the end of September 17th. We're kind of in north-central Montana. They forded the Musselshell River and pushed on north. They crossed the Missouri River 8 days later. And now, it's starting to get cold. Cold winds starting in.
Yeah.
So at the end of September, the bands made camp on Snake Creek near the Bear Paw Mountains. And at this point, they have traveled 1,600 miles. They're within 40 miles of the Canadian border, so they decided to kill some buffalo and try to get some food and some warmth. Anyway, the chiefs did not know that Colonel Miles' troops were coming down on them. So at 6 a.m. on September 30th, the scouts spotted the Bear Paw encampment. Miles closed in with nearly 600 men, and he'd ordered his troops to charge.
Now, wait a minute. What year was this?
This was, 18...
It was after the Custer Massacre, right?
Yes, I believe so.
And wasn't General Miles one of the important generals that didn't show up to help Custer?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, as I say, he's closing in. The Nez Perce saw Miles' cavalry. The warriors held their fire until the cavalry reached a range of 100 yards. One battalion had 53 casualties out of 115 men because the warriors picked them off, the officers. Well, they stopped their charge. They died for cover. Miles then threw a ring of troops around the whole camp, and the siege began. Joseph and his 12-year-old daughter Sarah were catching horses when a cavalry unit swept around them to capture the herds. Well, several Nez Perce jumped on ponies and fled north toward the Canadian border. Joseph actually put his daughter on horseback and sent her galloping after them.
Really?
Okay. So he raced through a line of soldiers back to the camp to help direct the defense. And at 1 p.m., Miles ordered a second charge, and Joseph met it head-on with his warriors. But by the end of the day, Joseph knew, that the worst was coming. And,
what was the casualty numbers?
I don't know at this point. But the thing that kind of bothered him a lot was the loss of his beloved brother, Ollicott.
Oh, he died.
This good-natured, peace-loving giant, they called him.
But did the daughter get away?
It doesn't say that if she did or not, because I think some did make it into Canada.
Now the other members of his family?
Don't know.
Really?
Sure.
Kind of vague right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we are now. It's October 1st, and you know what the weather can be.
Up in Montana?
Storms,
cold.
Blowing in, hunger, cold. Chief Joseph sent 6 of their trusted warriors to the Sioux in Canada in the hope that they could persuade Sitting Bull to come to the rescue. Well, he did not know that all 6 Nez Perce had been killed by hostile Assiniboine Indians. So these 6 guys that went to Canada...
They can't win for losing.
They were killed before they could even get to Sitting Bull. So here we are. Colonel Miles, to avoid a bigger battle, he began to negotiate with Joseph. Okay, so they're starting to communicate. Well, the Nez Perce leaders met to decide finally whether or not to give up. Joseph and Whitebird were the only chiefs left to decide the fate of the Nez Perce. Joseph chose surrender. Whitebird promised to yield also. Now, Whitebird actually slipped through the guard lines and did make his escape to Canada with 14 warriors and some of the women. So, as I say, some of them did escape.
But we don't know if Joseph's daughter made it or not.
We don't know.
Oh, my.
So, anyway, in his camp before a translator and recording officer, Joseph spoke the words that would soon touch the hearts of Americans everywhere. And I'm going to quote this and read this, Zeb. He says, "It is cold and we have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people, some of them, have run away to the hills and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are, perhaps freezing to death. I want time to look for my children and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever." Just an inspirational, to me. I get chills when I read that.
Well, we only have about a minute and a half left. Give me an update as to what you know historically happened to Chief Joseph.
Okay. Basically, they took the Indians to and put them on reservations, but they wouldn't put them back on the Lapway reservation. They took them to Kansas, and
that makes no sense to me.
No, and a lot of them died from malaria. And then they went into Kansas to a reservation in Kansas, and again a bunch of them died. But in hope of improving his people's situation, he actually went to Washington to try to see if they couldn't do something.
Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. He boarded a train for and anyway, only 118 of the Indians were permitted to rejoin their tribe on the Lapwai Reservation. The other 150 were sent to Colville Reservation in Washington Territory.
Right.
Anyway, 1901, Joseph told an interviewer, "My home is in the Wallowa Valley, and I want to go back there to live." Well,
now where did they confine him?
I think he was up in Washington as well.
I see.
But in 1904, he sat by the fire in his teepee. He suddenly fell forward, and the chief doctor said that he died from a broken heart. And here was a peace-loving chief.
Yeah.
To me, one of the great men of the West.
And really, I guess as a synopsis, real quick, what was the gain for the federal government in doing this?
Okay, well, remember, initially they had 10,000 square miles of reservation.
Over on Oregon, Washington, and
Idaho area.
Yeah.
And then they reduced it to 1,000 because, as typically happens, the white men wanted the better land for farming, for ranching. It doesn't say gold mining, but that probably came too. And so, as typically happened, the reservations got smaller and smaller, and then the Indian agents, some were good, some were bad.
Yeah.
So
that's a sad story.
It really is an amazing story of, to me, one of the great leaders of the Old West.
I agree. Boy, you did a good job with that historical synopsis. I like that. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Dr. History, absolutely at its best. Stay with us, Doc. I got to do this, and then we'll have a chance to visit. Before you leave, don't forget Merry Christmas wishes from Dot Foods at 1541 West 27th in Burley. They thank everybody for making them the nation's largest food industry redistributor, and they're right here in Magic Valley. Great employees and drivers in Burley at 1541 West 27th in Burley. Dot Foods wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Also, our thanks go out to Streamline Precision. They'd like to encourage you to go up to a person in uniform and shake their hand and say thank you. These men and women put their lives on the line every day so that we can live in the best place in the world, and that's America. Merry Christmas from Streamline Precision. And also, when we talk about Streamline Precision, don't forget, they're located at 120 South, 100 West of Burley, and their great expertise in manufacturing and contracting. Don't forget, they can build anything for you. They are the best. They are experts in excavation, too. Call them at 678-9204. Streamline Precision, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. We're going to be back in just a few minutes, but right now, let's send it back over to our main studios.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour on Zeb at the Ranch for this morning. And I really enjoy having Dr. Ken Turner, better known as Dr. History, on our program every week on Tuesdays. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas wishes go out from Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and Representative Fred Wood. They all want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And they absolutely appreciate your support, and they in turn enjoy supporting you and all the folks here in the state of Idaho. Senator Anthon, Speaker of the House Bedke, and Representative Fred Wood saying Merry Christmas. By the way, too, don't forget BAMA, the Burley Area Merchants Association. Oh, my goodness sakes, go find Bella the Elf in 25 area stores. And when you find Bella, you'll be able to put your name in a box for the store's weekly drawing. Don't forget that. And all of this thanks to some really good people with the Burley Area Merchants Association, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Tis the season. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I really find this gentleman's bio very interesting for what he's had to take care of in his life and accomplish. And I say a good morning to Peter Rosenberger, president of the Standing with Hope, a nonprofit prosthetic limb outreach. And good morning, Peter. How are you?
Good morning to you, Zeb, and it's a treat to be with you. How are things in Idaho today?
Very, very nice. The sun is shining, blue skies, and temperatures probably getting up into the higher 40s. And where are you, by the way, my friend?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and working in the rhinestone mines down here.
Well, I'll tell you what, back there with the land of guitars, I'll tell you what, I'm envious. It's a lot of fun back there.
Well, listen, I'm envious where you are. We spent a lot of time out in southwest Montana. I bet you've ridden rodeo over there in the Ennis area, haven't you?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, I've been up into Ennis and all through that area, and especially Bozeman area. I know it very well.
My family has a place out there in the Madison Valley, and for more than 30 years we've been going out there, and I'm not going to be able to make it this year for Christmas, but I was out there for a good bit of time earlier in 2017 with my wife, and just love it. Love that area of the country, and I wish I could make it home. And Lord knows I'm trying to, Zeb.
Peter, you've got a tremendous story to tell, and there's a lot of intertwining with you, your wife, and then also some of the things I've been through, so I can really relate and have a lot of empathy with what you're going to talk about. Give us basics of the opioid problem in America and how it pertains to you and your family.
Well, my wife had a horrible car wreck back when she was 17, a couple of years before I met her. She was a freshman in college, and it busted her up pretty bad, Zeb. And by the time I met her, she had returned to college. She had a slight limp, and friends had told me she'd had a wreck, and I saw some scars on her lower legs and so forth. But I didn't understand the concept of what that really meant to be in a relationship with somebody who was hurt. And she'd had about 20 surgeries by the time I met her. They were trying to save her legs. And over time, it just we fell in love, got married, and the surgeries mounted, trying to continue saving her legs. The doctor said, "Look, if you guys are going to have kids, have them when you're young." So I went to her and I said, "Baby, I got doctor's orders. I got a prescription and everything." He said, "We got to do this." She said, "We had our first child, and but it accelerated the problem with her right leg, and she ended up giving that up in the 90s, but she bounced back pretty well. It did pretty well." But the strain of having our second child accelerated her left leg, and then she ended up giving that one up. To date, that I can count, and including the 2 amputations, she's had 78 major surgeries, and then she's also had about that same amount of smaller procedures and so forth. It keeps growing. 80-plus doctors, 12 different hospitals, 7 different insurance companies, and millions of dollars, $11 million now. And a lot of that included opioids. And over the years, I've handled street value of millions of dollars of opioids, picking them up from the pharmacy, so forth, with her here in the house. And when the president rolled the thing out about the opioid crisis, and we have a big problem with that in Tennessee, and I get it, and I'm glad he's doing it. I noticed that they didn't talk anything about caregivers. And you show me a chronic pain patient, and I'll show you a caregiver.
Right.
Because they're in the house doing this. And so I thought, okay, well, how do you help the caregivers on this thing? Nobody's talking about this, and we're the ones that are keeping this thing on the rails. I think back on this, Zeb, when I had all those prescriptions that were given to me as her caregiver to go fill at the pharmacy or whatever and pick them up. And at no point did any surgeon, any physician, any physician's assistant, any pharmacist ever look across the prescription pad and say, hey, dude, we're putting a lot of chemicals in your wife's body over a long period of time. You might want to get some help for yourself on this, some counseling for you, a support group for you. Nobody ever said that. And it's a rocky road. And it takes only a matter of seconds before a caregiver can turn into an enabler. And this is what I'm concerned about. And then you've got a situation, Zeb, where you've got family members, because the families are so spread apart, you've got family members that are paying someone to take care of an impaired loved one, whether they're aging parent or whatever. So if your mother fell and broke her hip and she's on painkillers, what about that pain caregiver? How do you ensure that they're not helping themselves to a Lortab when they're having a bad back or whatever, that, she's not going to miss just one or whatever, or this person's got a boyfriend or spouse that's got a drug problem and puts pressure on this caregiver, this pain caregiver, to take from that loved one. That's happened in my own home when I had a worker here helping me with my wife, and I work out of my home, and it's happened. So this is a real problem, and you can't just look at the opioid crisis as somebody buying, illegal drugs from some guy named Rooster behind the dumpster somewhere. I mean, you've got a real problem with this in our own homes, and I just want to bring attention to this massive group of people. There are over 65 million of us who are caring for a loved one who is impaired, disabled, getting older, whatever, and that number's only going to grow. If you love somebody, you're going to be a caregiver. If you live long enough, you're going to need one. That's what brings me to your show today, and I'm very grateful that you're allowing me to speak to your audience about this issue that I know there are people dealing with that are listening to you right now.
Well, Peter, here's the thing. You've written a book called 7 Caregiver Landmines and How You Can Avoid Them and Hope for the Caregiver, encouraging words to strengthen your spirit. When people get your books and close the last cover of the book, what do you want them to take away from it? What message are you trying to tell people?
For the family caregiver, I want them to have the vocabulary to identify what help is and to be able to articulate that. And then I want to infuse them with the courage to ask for that help. And for the person who's not a caregiver, I want to give them the vocabulary of what help looks like for that caregiver, to know how to help a caregiver, and then to motivate them to reach out to that caregiver and help them. Don't just say to a caregiver, hey, let me know if there's something I can do for you, or, buddy, we're going to pray for you. No, we can do better than that, and we can get very specific. And so too many caregivers, one of the landmines that caregivers face is we think it's all up to us, Zeb, and we think we got to just white-knuckle ourselves through this thing,
right,
and somehow we're going to just muscle our way until we end up standing at a funeral. But we realize that sometimes caregivers don't outlive their loved ones. The stress on a caregiver is so great. If you're taking care of somebody with full-blown Alzheimer's, for example, it'll take 5 to 10 years off the life of a caregiver. That's documented. I got a very close friend of mine whose wife is very, very ill. They're an elderly couple. Wife has been very ill, and the stress on this has just worn him out. And I played the piano for his funeral last month.
Oh, my goodness.
And she's still alive. So this is the reality of that's going on with these people who are putting themselves between a vulnerable loved one and even worse disaster. They're putting their hearts, their wallets, their jobs, their entire health and life between that person who's disabled or impaired or needy and even worse disaster. But how do you help that person? And this is what I'm on a mission to do with my radio show, when I go out and speak, when I write, all the things that I do. And I'm speaking to that younger version of myself who fell in love with a beautiful woman who was hurt, didn't understand it, didn't understand what it would cost me, didn't understand how well I would do, didn't understand how poorly I would fail on this thing. I'm kind of the crash test dummy of caregivers, Zeb. But I've learned some things along the way in these 31 years I've been doing this to help come alongside and grab as many as I can to point them to a place of safety. If you'll pardon me just for a moment, I was out snowmobiling in Beaverhead National Forest. You know where that is?
I do.
And I'm a pretty good sledder, and my son and I were way up top, and it had been a windy day, and the snow was blowing everywhere, and I missed the marker on the trail, and I ended up on the side of a slope over there, and my machine just sunk into about 3 or 4 foot drifts, and I could get my sled out of a drift. I'm huffing and puffing a little bit, but I didn't know where I was. So if I spent all the energy to get out of the drift, I still didn't know where I was, and I got the danger of getting stuck in an even worse place. The sun was going down. It was getting colder. I didn't know where I was. I told my son to hang back while we had to kind of trudge around on foot trying to find the marker, and then we finally found it, got the sled out, and made a beeline for the marker where the trail was packed a little bit better, where we could catch our breath and then get our bearings and go on home. That's where caregivers are. We're stuck. We don't know where we are, and if we spend what little resources we have, we can get stuck in a worse place because we don't know where we're going. We don't know where safety is. And it's getting colder. The sun is going down, and we're getting terrified, and we don't know what to do.
I am
on a mission to do, Zeb, and you're helping me do that just right now to your audience, because I know there's so many listening right now who are struggling with this, and they're feeling terrified about what's coming down. And I'm saying, whoa, we're going to take a break, just to get a breath a little bit. We'll have to get to a place of safety, and we're going to make some good decisions together.
You know, Peter, when you talked about this, I have so many personal experiences of my own that I can relate to, but I want to back up a little bit and basically leave the premise of the book and being a caregiver and everything, and I want to give you a salute. I think that you and your wife and your marriage absolutely should win an award for going through the tough times and weathering the storm. I mean, was it ever to the point where you really thought about splitting up? Were there ever major problems where you couldn't get along? Talk to us a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, everything and more. Listen, there's a reason I'm the crash test dummy. I descended into some dark places, Zeb. Moral failures, the whole thing. If you've heard about it, we've lived it. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I know how dangerous this is. I know how painful it is, and how we have survived this thing is a testament to God's grace. And I say that with all sincerity. But I also see this as for such a time as this, because I realize that if I would be a poor steward of the grace that God has shown me, of the wisdom I've learned from so many different people along this way, if I didn't go out there and try to offer this to my fellow caregivers in a way that they could understand, they could respect, and they could accept. And this is what we're doing. We launched our prosthetic limb outreach to amputees about 12 years ago, and we minister to the wounded and to those who care for them. And we've been working in West Africa for a long time, helping amputees, and we started this caregiver outreach that we did about 6 years ago, when we sat down and realized, you know what, we've learned a few things along the way. It's time to share this with other people.
Wow. Let me ask you about the opioids themselves and the basic, and I hate to use this terminology, but I think you'll understand why I'm saying it, the pill pushing, if you will, to the person that needs the medication through the caregiver. Aren't there alternative ways in this day and age? What do you think about the way medical science is or is not pursuing alternative methods?
Oh, I think that it's a deplorable, if you'll let me borrow that word. They will pay for drugs, but alternative care, it's not. For example, I've been talking with my wife's pain specialist the other day. We've worked hard to get her off of opioids, and yet we would like to use things like a lidocaine patch, for example. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yes.
It's basically a topical anesthetic that you can put right on the site that's hurt, particularly in her case, because she has orthopedic problems. She has a lot of scar tissue and arthritis type things. So you put that on there, right on it, and it doesn't get into your system. It just, in the same way opioids do, and it's non-invasive like that. But we're fighting to get that paid for, but yet they'll pay for thousands of dollars of opioids. I think that at this point, we're going to have all hands on deck, and we're going to need to be willing to look at everything holistically, nutraceuticals, whatever. Anything needs to be in the discussion. Not all of these things are going to work. Medical marijuana is not going to work for every pain patient. Some pain patients do very well with it. Some do not. But I think that everything needs to be on the table, at least to take a look at it. And instead of just throwing pills at it and saying, here, take a couple of these. That particular way of treating people is archaic. I think that you could do all types of different infusions. There's nerve blocks, there's steroid injections, or there's all kinds of things that you can do. We've participated in these things, electronic stimulators, spinal intrathecal delivery systems of things. There's so many different things that we can do that keep people from becoming dependent upon opioids.
And I would imagine, Peter, that your complaint is similar to mine, that you're underneath the thumb of Big Brother and the government always watching you and saying yay or nay.
Well, I just don't particularly like people that don't have a lot of skin in the game making decisions for those of us who do.
Right.
I look at these guys when they passed Obamacare, for example, and I don't want to cause any problems with that. But I looked at all the people that were promoting this, and I thought, man, these people in Washington, none of these people got any skin in the game. Who are these? These are rank amateurs talking about health care that's affecting a nation. And I thought, they need to sit down and shut up. and bring some people up there that really know what they're talking about from a consumer standpoint. I'm not talking about just physicians. I think physicians need to be a part of it. I think all players. But if you'll notice, they didn't bring a lot of caregivers into the discussion when they passed Obamacare.
Right.
And we're the ones that have to deal with it. We're the ones that have to navigate. You know, I've changed. My wife is considered uninsurable, Zeb. I changed policies on her 6 times without a lapse in coverage. And she's uninsurable. Now, how did I pull that off? I've never lost an appeal with an insurance company in 31 years. We had 2 that were stopped by doctors because they took so long that they decided to go a different route. But once I got involved, I took it all the way, and I never lost. Now, how did I do this? And these are the things that I want to bring into the public discourse and say, you know, if I'm willing to work 2 jobs or carry 2 policies and sacrifice and drive older cars or whatever I got to do to be able to make sure her health care is a priority, why am I being asked to subsidize other people that aren't?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those kinds of things.
You know, the books.
And so these are the kind of conversations I would love to continue having with people because I think those questions need to be addressed.
Absolutely.
And I think that we as a country have allowed a disproportionate amount of people from one demographic of it to dictate to everybody else what they need to have.
Absolutely.
Again, the opioid crisis, Obamacare, go through the list. How many of these people involve any significant caregivers in the mix? And we're the ones dealing with insurance companies. We're the ones back and forth to the doctor's office, the pharmacies, the hospitals, and all these kinds of stuff. And so, you know, I'm not what you expect for a caregiver. I understand that. Most caregivers are not quite as aggressive as I am, but I've had to be aggressive. I'm a second-degree black belt. I take these things very, very seriously that when I'm dealing with, and I've had to be aggressive. Because if I wasn't aggressive, my wife would be dead.
God bless you, Peter, and please tell my audience where they can obtain these books. Give us the case history on where they can be obtained.
It's wherever books are sold, but go the easiest place right now probably is Amazon, but hopeforthecaregiver.com is my website. You can listen to my radio show. You can look at videos that I put out there, blog posts, hopeforthecaregiver.com, or just Google me, Peter Rosenberger. And you know what, Zeb, the Kindle version of Hope for the Caregiver is on sale. My publisher put it on sale for less than $3 during the holidays because it's so stressful for caregivers during the holidays.
Absolutely.
I have the audio version of my book, so when you're back and forth driving on those long roads in Idaho, then listen, take along a 30-year caregiver with you.
Absolutely.
And so you can download the audiobook today.
I absolutely am going to have you back on the program when I have another segment with more time. Peter Rosenberger, God bless you. Merry Christmas and God's blessing, sir. Thank you so much.
Zeb, keep riding, baby. Keep riding.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Wow, what a story. And a straightforward person. I really enjoy having him on the air. Peter Rosenberger talking about his wife, his life, and the opioid crisis in this country, and I'm going to have him back. Excellent, excellent job. Whoa. I got to get the weather forecast out here. Look at the time. Holy moly. Weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, www.scarrowmeats.com. The retail meat's absolutely phenomenal. Look at the marinated prime ribs and the smoked turkeys and the smoked hams and all the breakfast sausages and bacon. It's delicious. You're going to love going over and shopping at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Relatively calm for today and for the rest of the week. It kind of doesn't even feel like the end of November. Looks like sunny skies for today on the calm side, high of 43 tonight. We do have a 20% chance of rain and or snow showers in the forecast. Going to be breezy as well, low of 27. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, gusts right around 30 miles an hour. High of 39 is what we're looking at. Tomorrow night, mostly clear skies with a low of 22. For Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 42 with an overnight low of 25. And for Friday, partly sunny skies, high of about 45, and looks like a low of 31. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats. My, oh my, they put their heart and soul into the most delicious of meats. Christmas right around the corner, and they're ready to meet all your needs. There you go at Scarrow's Meats. Don't forget, call them at 324-7657 or stop over 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Don't forget, Merry Christmas from Denny's at 611 North Overland in Burley and America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, and Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with our old buddy Jeff and the whole crew. Listen, they've teamed up, and whether you're over there at Denny's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, when you go up to pay your bill, just sign your receipt with your name, put your telephone number on it, and you might be the lucky winner of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner. And thank you, Jeff at Lee's Furniture, and of course, all of this coming together at Denny's for Christmas. Drawing's going to be on December 14th right there at Denny's in Burley, 611 North Overland, while I'm on the air for our Christmas broadcast. Don't you forget that. Also, want to say thank you to our great big major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness, get ready for wintertime driving. We're kind of lulled into a false sense of security here, but it's going to get nasty. And make sure you got the right kind of tires on your vehicle to get you through the yuck and the muck and the ice and the snow, everything else. Well, they've got all the tires you need right over there at any of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Doing the right thing matters, and they always do the right thing. The best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. They've got all your tire chains. They're ready for winter driving, and they urge you to stop in. See Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Woo. I'm out of time. Great program. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to all of our callers. And, of course, Wheels over at our main studio. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06 with more Zeb at the Ranch till 11. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be.